answer.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who
final
said
word?
that?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
I disagree with him because I want it. It's your toy, but I want it. That's what Donald Trump is saying. European leaders from France to Germany to the UK have now jumped in, stressing Greenland belongs to its people and is not for sale. Denmark's Prime Minister has warned a forced shift to Greenland into US hands could tear apart NATO itself. You've got to remember, Denmark's part of NATO. NATO has a rule that if one is attacked, all is attacked. But what happens if one of NATO attacks another NATO member? That's it, it's done. Now, ordinary Greenlanders are watching nervously, unsure how a distant power grab might affect their culture, land, and their future. It's extraordinary to me that Donald Trump thinks he can just go and take this land. The US has full access, military bases. They're there. They don't need anything from Greenland except the minerals and the resources. That's what this is all about. It's what happened in Venezuela. It's all about oil. And now that's what this is about here. Denmark and Greenland both stress self-determination and international law. Again, Greenland is not for sale. European nations are showing solidarity, which is fantastic, with Denmark. They're pushing back on US rhetoric, but it's hard. The Prime Minister is there. They're saying that they're trying to have dialogue with the US, but how do you have dialogue with a bully? They're rejecting claims about Chinese-Russian threats in the region. There's no proof of that. Now, this isn't the first time the US has tried to buy Greenland. The US has a long history of interest in the place. In 1946, the US offered to buy Greenland from Denmark for $100 million. That was shortly after World War II. Denmark refused. For when then President Donald Trump revived the idea in 2019 and again recently, discussing possible purchase or other ways to bring Greenland under US control. Has the US said Denmark has no claim to Greenland? Yes, they have. While there's no legal declaration from the US that Denmark has no claim under international law, we have heard government officials saying they think they own Greenland because a boat sailed there from Denmark 500 years ago. Well, that's exactly what happened with the US and every place that's been colonized. A boat sailed there and said, put their flag in and said, we own it now. Happened here in Australia. So Trump and his aides are suggesting the US should own Greenland for strategic regions, and they are pushing against Denmark's sovereignty. Denmark and Greenland have repeatedly called such talk unacceptable. There is no legal basis for the US taking over Greenland. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Its sovereignty is recognised internationally. Annexing it would violate the UN Charter and basic principles of territorial integrity. Even US discussions of military options and internal brainstorming are not grounded in recognised legal justification. The US, as I said, already operates military infrastructure in Greenland. They have a key early warning and defence site, agreed with Denmark. There is no justification for trying to take over this place. Yep, Greenland is rich in minerals and rare earths critical for tech and defence and strategic Arctic positioning. So Donald Trump thinks now he can just take it. But a January 2025 poll found about 85% of Greenlanders oppose becoming part of the United States. Greenlandic political leaders have publicly declared sentiments like, we do not want to be Americans. We want to be Greenlanders. Even polling in the US now also shows low support for the acquisition and even less for military action. For example, one recent Reuters Ipsos poll found only 17% of Americans support Trump's push for acquisition, and 71% oppose military force. But the big question I've got is, how would NATO be affected if the US did invade? NATO, as I said, is built on a collective defence. But that framework, it assumes external aggression, not one member attacking another. NATO would be dead. Unity could be viewed as the end of the alliance. We are in uncharted territories. We're in dangerous territories. And I've got to say, I'm with the people of Greenland and Denmark. It is their territory. It is not Donald Trump's to be taken. How is he acting any differently to a dictator, to Russia invading Ukraine? If Donald Trump does the same to Greenland, he is no better than Russia. And we are heading down a scary path.
McKnight Tonight.